why do you support Donald Trump?
Mainly when you're looking at the election between the two of them, the main issues I came down to were immigration.
Wait,
And
what state
honestly,
do you live in?
again,
What state do you live in?
it was in Nevada.
And what time is it?
What time is it?
Yeah.
11 a.m.
11 a.m. in Nevada? Okay. Can you name 2 states that border Nevada?
California and Arizona.
Okay. What about 3?
I know I have an Irish accent, but
Yeah, no, I only ask because most people who have Irish accents are trolling. And by the way, I do think it's like 10. Is there anywhere in Nevada though that is 11? I don't think that there is, right?
I'm not in Nevada. I'm not in Nevada right now. I live in Nevada, but I'm not in the state right now. So I just said the 7 hours from where Irish time is. That's what my phone's on right now. But I'm living in Las Vegas.
Okay, can you name 4 different cities in Nevada?
Reno, Henderson, Vegas, and doesn't count, but North Las Vegas is another city. Like I've been living in here since 2000, since January of 2025.
Okay.
Just after the election happened.
All right. Okay. Why do you support Trump?
Again, it came down to mainly immigration.
Okay. What
And
about immigration?
cost of living under the Democrats, which I know wasn't really their fault because of COVID and the bounce back, but just it wasn't really ideal. And immigration, if you looked at from where I was watching the 2024 race, shall we say, the Democrats focused so much on things that just didn't impact the lives of everyday aspects. Like they were heavy on LGBT rights, they were heavy on non-immigrant rights, or not immigrants. They were heavy on LGBT rights. They were heavy on housing and stuff like that. Obviously anti-war and stuff, but just they didn't really focus on the day-to-day aspects I thought that would impact people in terms of cost of living and the immigration aspects.
Okay, let me ask you this question. How has Trump addressed cost of living since he got in office?
He's tried. I think Trump RX is a good. I think Trump RX is a good. I don't know Irish mind. I think Trump's RX is a good idea. I think it is beneficial. I think the fact that guy, what's his name? He's on the Shark Show. He used to own the Mavericks. Mark Cuban. I think the fact that even Mark Cuban, who's heavily come out as like an anti-Trump individual, even the fact that he can kind of say that Trump RX is a good idea. He is trying to help people with the essential.
Trump RX is just literally good RX with Trump stamped on it. That's really all it is.
But it's for the medications, right? It's for like.
Yeah, but good RX already existed. So all it is rebranding good RX.
I didn't know what that was.
Just putting Trump's name on it. I'm not joking.
I didn't realize. I only saw it because obviously he's doing it with the Trump RX. That's why I thought it was a decent. I didn't realize there was something previously good RX before that.
Yep, already exists. It still existed. Good RX still exists. It's just literally Trump RX also exists, and it's literally just Good RX with Trump's name on it.
Okay, that's news to me. I didn't realize that. But then, like, I think that a major issue. I don't know if you'd agree with this. Like a major issue. Like, do you think if Biden hadn't run, and obviously you know the first debate between Biden and Trump, that he performed very badly in Biden, and Trump didn't even perform well. It was just that Biden was very bad. Do you think if Biden had dropped out before announcing he's going to run, do you think if they had a primary and Harris or whoever had won it, an actual primary, do you think Trump still would have won the 2024 election, or do you think it would have went to the Democrats if they had actually had a primary and not just dropped Biden out?
I think if Harris were the nominee earlier, we would have had a better shot at winning. I don't think that necessarily there being a primary or not would have changed that. There was already a primary. I don't understand why we do another primary at that point. That wouldn't make any sense. You're saying if Biden dropped out originally and we had an original primary, we would have been good. But I still think Harris would have won.
So what is the main reason? Do you think that?
Like she probably would have won the primary anyway, just because people would have been like,
if she would have ended up going. Sorry.
I mean, there's an argument that maybe it could have got the party to be stronger together.
But do you think if?
But like, I just don't know if that would have changed the results. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify that. Go ahead.
No, it's all good. But I'm saying, yeah. So you don't think it would have changed the results if you had an earlier primary?
I don't know.
Okay. So what? I don't get why. Like, obviously, Trump is not a god here. He's not done everything correctly in office. But I'm just not sure. Like the Democrats' strategy in 2024, I think if they run in with that same strategy, and I think if they run with Newsom, who's like a Democratic version of Trump in terms of how he acts online and social media, how he kind of goats and gets involved with Trump like that, I don't think the Democrats are going to bounce back in 2028 if they continue the same game plan that they went with 2024. And I remember watching CNN at the time, that guy, Van Jones, I don't know, do you watch him?
I don't watch CNN.
No,
I'm
so he
confused.
said that even, and he would be very like anti-Trump and whatever. I think even he said that if the Democrats don't change their game plan and become more, he said more centralist or like less left, like not as far left as they were in 2024. He says that they don't think that they'll bounce back in 28, and I can't see even if the
Yeah,
Democrats win the
I'm
House
just gonna be
this year.
honest with you. Every single person with every ideological belief says that their ideological belief will be better.
But even if the Democrats win the House this year,
Just
is
think
that
about
really
that
a
for a
big
second.
deal?
Like, I'm
Because
gonna
the
say
House,
that about my belief. Other progressives are gonna say that about their belief. I'm also progressive. Moderates will say that about their belief. People who are conservative will say that about their belief. I think people who say that across the board, right, are going to be saying that about their own beliefs, regardless of what political ideology they are.
I
So
don't
that doesn't
disagree with you,
necessarily
but
mean that
you
it's
like,
right.
would you consider yourself anti-Trump or just like anti-Republican, anti-MAGA? Like if someone else was
Both.
okay, so is it more? But if a Republican, like, is there any
I'm more
Republicans you look at
anti-Trump
now?
than just anti-Republican alone. But I think Republican is 100%, almost 100% controlled by Trump right now. Basically, the Republican Party outside of Trump doesn't exist.
Even Marco Rubio, you wouldn't be a fan of him.
No.
Okay, because I thought he's a very. I think the way that he comes across is very respectful. I think he's winning
He
a
comes
lot of.
across more respectable than Trump, but like that doesn't mean that he he's like a good person or a good candidate.
But I do think the Republican candidate is going to come down to him or JD Vance.
Yeah, that's probably true.
And that's probably going to be, what's that guy's name? Pete Buttigieg or Gavin Newsom, which I don't think either of them.
Pete Buttigieg,
Like
Gavin Newsom, AOC, Kamala Harris.
I don't think AOC is experienced enough to run for president. And I know I'm saying that as a Trump supporter. He had no experience, but like
she polls near the top. I don't think people care about experience. You didn't care about experience. You voted for Trump. So like, why are people only applying that standard to her? I think it's going to be whether or not she thinks that she has a shot to win.
Do you not think
I
that
think
her
that she
comments
definitely
at
does
the
have a
Munich
shot.
conference would have harmed her? Do you not think her comments and her performance at the Munich conference a couple months ago would have harmed her?
Which comments specifically?
She was talking about foreign policy. I can't remember the country. I think it was something to do with
Taiwan.
It was China and Taiwan. That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think she didn't properly answer it. I don't think that's evidence that she can't be president.
But in a debate scene with someone like a JD Vance I haven't seen Marco Rubio debates, so I don't really know. But do you think like the way debates have gone? Like I remember watching the 2008 debate between.
I think she would do
Biden
fantastic in the debates.
But debates now have kind of gone more. They're not really debates anymore. They're more just shouting aggressive matches. They're not really debating substance anymore. Now, if you could go back to debating substance,
I think without Trump, it'll be a lot better.
Substance, I think it would be good. But I don't know if we can ever get back to that just because it's gone. What now is it? 10 years since Trump's been involved. It's kind of created this kind of sports.
The person who's screaming is literally Trump. Like the other person who's against them is not. Like Kamala Harris against Trump. Did you watch that?
That was the first. No, I didn't watch that second.
Yeah,
debate,
he looked. You should have watched it. He looked like a man-child, and she looked like the adult in the room. You know.
But do you like the Democrats? Like, obviously, you're a Democrat voter. Like, do you think if they? And I don't want to be rude to the community, but like I can remember seeing so much focus of them on like abortion rights and LGBTQ rights and stuff like that. Do you think they need to move away from that as like their main focus if they're going to be competitive in a presidential election?
I don't even think that's been the main focus of Democrats. I think that's something also that we do. Not the main focus is still like the economy, right? Like workers' rights, right? Ensuring that people have access to basic needs, healthcare. Like that's the main focus of Democrats, typically speaking, right? And they also have those beliefs. I don't.
But I think they did. I don't think they've done a good job. I don't even know if you'd
be able to provide me a single Democrat who mainly talks about that.
It's not so like it's just I don't know if I can give you a name of someone who focuses primarily on that. But I'm just saying in the presidential election.
Yeah, so like, why do people brand it that way? Like, I actually like when I think about it, I'm like, I think it's Republicans' main focus, right? Of them trying to in the culture war, trying to create the culture war narrative. I think that there's no example of Democrats they'd be able to provide that are like mostly talk about this and they don't really talk about anything else. Like I'd love to hear one example.
But is it truthful? I remember watching an ad, and I think it was not a great ad. The Republicans do a good job of making that. If that's not true, if the Democrats aren't that focused on those specific topics, the Republicans do a good job of making people think that's what they're focused on with the way that they talk and their ads and stuff. Like, I don't know if it's true or not. I never really researched it, but is it? But is it true that Kamala Harris did want to provide funding for inmates' changes?
No.
Or is that just propaganda?
That was propaganda. Her position is that people who are trans, in the context of imprisonment, right, should be able to continue to get the hormones that they were getting prior. Everyone else in prison gets their hormones. Everyone else in prison gets their medication, right? So why would we specifically outlaw trans people from getting their medication that they need, right? Like, that makes no sense.
I just never, because I remember
it's not the surgery. It's literally just hormones.
Because I remember seeing ads and news and stuff about that, and obviously the Republicans do a good job of forcing that and making people think that it's more in the minds of Democrats than it is. So obviously that's a good job. But then again, I'd have to say, like, I don't even want to say I'm a MAGA or pro massive Trump supporter. I just, again, not common sense, but things like trans athletes in sports, I would heavily fall on what would you call the Republican side of that or the right side of that, where I don't think
how many trans people are in the NCAA?
This is the thing. It's not a big issue, but
like
it's
16.
taking up a massive...
This is not something to address on a federal scale. I think different sports organizations will have different policies addressing it in the way in which the sports organization likes, and we'll take it up with the sports organizations whether we agree with them or disagree with them. The fact that this is brought up in a conversation of what the law should be is nuts. Right? Like, I'm serious. I'm serious. Like, it's literally like, didn't it? Is there a single trans person that we'd be able to mention that's dominating?
That person who won, what is the person's name? Thomas, the first major one, went from the male athletes. He was like 400 ranked as a male.
She didn't dominate. She's not even playing right
now.
She didn't even dominate. There are countless circumstances where she didn't win.
No, but she did win the final national.
You said, wait, okay, I'm not even familiar with every single circumstance in which she won, but I know in most instances she didn't win. Right? What you're thinking? No, but you know, I'm pretty sure what you're thinking of. I'm pretty sure what you're thinking of. It was that she got fit, not that she got first.
No. Do you know in college football? You know they have the national championship at the end of the season. So she won the female swimming equivalent of that.
Yeah, what didn't she get fifth?
No, she qualified fifth and then she won the actual final.
Okay, I mean, where did you see that? I mean, I'd have to go and find that.
But that's just my memory.
Regardless, that's not dominating. Winning one time is not dominating.
No, but I think that the fact that got brought to the Supreme Court because people tried to... I can't remember what state it was. This is not
something that we should be addressing with federal policy. It's embarrassing that this is even brought up to be addressed with federal policy. Do you really think that the federal government should be concerned with sports outcomes?
I think it should be a state issue. Same as I think abortion should be a state issue.
I mean, that's ridiculous to me, that you would want to leave human rights up to the states, one. And then two, as it relates to sports, it doesn't have anything to do with the state either. These are sports organizations.
Someone has to do with
sports organizations. It's not have to do with a state government. It's not to do with a federal government. That's absurd, bro. What are you talking about?
But someone has to oversee the regulations with sports and abortion. Someone has to do it. So it has to be either federal or state.
Why does a government body need to regulate sports rather than the sports organizations themselves? That makes no sense. Of course, this should be the sports organizations and not the federal government regulating sports. Come on, this is absurd.
It's not even
you're saying. Wait, so you're telling me that the federal government is going to force sports organizations to operate in a certain way? Are you serious? This is crazy to me.
I'm saying there should be oversight from the states.
Yeah. So you're saying that the state should force the sports organizations to operate in a specific way?
No, they shouldn't force. I'm saying they should have oversight over it if the state is.
So if a sports organization wants to allow for trans people to play, are you saying that the government will force them to?
No, the NCAA should have the final say on that.
Okay, so then the federal government has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, but does there not have to be something above? Same as the way that the federal government oversees the states. Should there not have to be someone overseeing the NCAA and these other sports industries?
No, the NCAA oversees the NCAA.
But do you think they should have they should be the final?
We will regulate the NCAA if they do any violations of the Civil Rights Act, for example. But none of these are violations of the Civil Rights Act, right? Saying that you want to allow trans people to play, that's not a violation of the Civil Rights Act.
Yeah, well, I didn't mean to go down this rabbit hole. I kind of just used it as an example of the propaganda during the election. But I do think that there should be some oversight from a non-concerned body, like the NCAA are focused on the NCAA. I
don't see any reason as to why.
That's it's fair enough. I'm not going to disagree with it. You're entitled to think that.
Okay. So what would be your point here? Your broader point?
I was just saying that
it seems like the fear mongering is worked on you.
I just don't think that in certain sports where there is a very physical element in terms of the need,
this
like
has
football.
nothing to do with the federal government. This is go to your sports organizations, talk to them. And again, you already said, the federal government cannot force sports organizations to operate in specific ways here. So then I just don't understand what your argument is here.
Well, I'm just talking about my personal opinion on the matter. Like, I don't think that in certain sports, and I'm thinking, like, I'm thinking
think what you want.
Sports.
What do you want the federal government to do is the question.
I want them to oversee certain sports where there is a physical advantage, something like boxing or wrestling.
Okay, when you say oversee, what the fuck does that mean? Be specific.
I don't think that trans athletes should be able to compete in sports like boxing or wrestling where there would be a provable physical advantage to
Okay, well, so you don't
the trans athlete.
With boxing and wrestling, you consent to go against the person before you do, right?
Yeah. But there's been a lot of...
you're saying you wouldn't allow for people to consent to wrestle or to consent to box?
No, but how... So do you think it's fair that some schools... Like, it happened a lot with volleyball this year.
To adults to do that?
No, but how many... There's been a couple of cases in volleyball this year where schools have boycotted games against teams that had a trans athlete. Now, I don't think it should make a difference in volleyball, but should we really put an athlete in a position where they have to choose to face someone who has a biological strength advantage or boycott a match just because? Like, should we really be putting people in that position? And I'm specifically
I don't think the federal government should be the one
or...
dealing with whether or not that is going to occur, right? Why does the federal government have to do with this? And you understand things like wrestling, like there are plenty of situations where men and women will wrestle, and you have no issue with that, right?
I'm only thinking of like not fake wrestling, but like.
Would you prevent women from wrestling any men?
Not in a competitive setting, yeah.
So wait, so you wouldn't allow for that at all, even if they wanted to?
But like what is like? Are you on about?
There are some women that
will
beat the shit out of you, dude.
No, I know.
There are some women that will beat the. There are some women that will destroy you, and it probably would be unsafe for you. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, and I'm not. Like, I watch the UFC. I understand Ronda Rousey.
The Dragon Crown.
But like, I'm just like, we're not talking about Ronda Rousey here. We're talking about the everyday athlete.
You don't have to be Ronda Rousey for them to like. I mean, like, do you do wrestling?
No, but okay. But what I'm saying is, like, imagine, like, we're talking about the NCAA level. So these are obviously Division I quality athletes. If someone like, I don't know, a Conor McGregor wanted to fight a Ronda Rousey.
A horrible example, but like, so let me ask you a question, right? Do you think the federal government should be the one dealing with whether or not people are allowed to do competitive sports against each other? Really? Like, what happened to small government? You think the federal government should be restricting what sports you can play?
No, I don't think it should be up to the federal government, but I do think that there should be, like, I don't really care about sports like swimming and stuff where there isn't that much of an advantage.
Then, like, why are we talking about this right now? Why is this something that we're talking about on a political stream as to why you support Trump? I've been asking you this over and over.
We just kind of got lost in the conversation
because you were bringing up how Republicans fearmonger people into believing these things, and then you proved that fearmongering is prevalent. You're focused on it.
Yeah, you wouldn't be wrong there. I kind of went down a bit of a rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's why the fear-mongering works. And I hate to be hyper-specific here, but people such as yourself will pick up on that and then literally be focused on that rather than being focused on, like, can you name one economic metric that Trump's made better off since he got in office?
I don't know if it answers your question, but the stock market is in a very good position compared to before he took office.
So actually, no, it's not. So real GDP, or not real GDP. I meant to say NASDAQ, S&P 500, and Dow Jones are growing at a lower rate now than what it was at the end of the Biden administration in 2024.
Yeah, but the Dow, I don't know how long ago, a couple of months ago, did hit its all-time high. Now, I know I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, that wouldn't have happened without Trump. Like, it could have happened under a Biden government. But yeah, that's the way the stock market works. It continues to grow and grow, and then it crashes.
Why are you making that argument for Trump? So why is that a unique argument for Trump as to why you support him? The Dow is 50,000, actually. Okay.
Yeah, I think the no tax on tips is a good. I know it's not an economic factor, but he is doing stuff to try and help.
Those are the smallest portions of the big beautiful bill. $3.4 trillion added to the debt. Most of the tax cuts go to the richest and wealthiest Americans. Kamala Harris wanted to maintain all the tax cuts applicable to income earners under $400,000 a year and only increase taxes on income over $400,000 a year. If you want aid for lower income Americans in terms of reducing their tax burden, don't vote for Trump or support Trump, who imposed tariffs that increased their taxes, who caused a war with Iran, that caused their gas prices to go up, that caused their groceries to go up.
Okay, but you mentioned Iran. Do you not think that a Biden or Harris or whatever government, do you not think that something would have been done about Iran or eventually? Never mind as Trump.
When you say done about Iran, I think it would have been like a JCPOA. But without Trump being there, we would have continued that JCPOA, and it would still be in place right now until 2030, and then we could renegotiate that.
Yeah, but since like Clinton's time, they've been saying that we need to do something about Iran. We need to do something about Iran, and they kind of just kept this negotiation where there was nothing really going on.
Obama did it. Obama did it, and then Trump pulled us out.
But I don't get why. Like, from a European perspective, I think that what happened in Iran is better for the safety. Like, you had countries like Italy, Germany, UK, kind of like there was a lot of countries that did support, and like the UK have a Labour government, which would be more left than right, whatever. Same with France. So there is countries that you would consider kind of liberal or left-leaning governments that did support that action in Iran. And logistically supported it with military. So I don't think that that's a fair knock to take at Trump, whether American population or not agree with it.
It is because Kamala Harris disagrees with it. And also, like, you understand that Trump has distanced us from our European allies. And yes. For people specifically who are in Europe, most people are against Trump, right? Like, there's not a high approval rating for Trump in Europe. So I don't know why you'd act like, okay, yeah, most people, or I mean, there are multiple different countries in Europe that supported the Iran war. Most people oppose the war.
Yeah, but I'm on about governments giving, countries' governments like the UK, Italy, France, etc., giving aid to Trump or to America to make that action on Iran. So they obviously approved it because they gave support to complete that mission.
I mean that might be that they were forced into it, or that there's something like that because of pressure, but there's also the fact that the populations of the countries don't support it, is the point that I'm making.
I don't know. I haven't looked at any polls or anything recently about population's opinions on the Iran war. But again, it doesn't really matter so much now because what happens in the next couple of months is the Strait of Hormuz. If he doesn't get that open, then it's going to, if he gets that open and things come down, it looks all right. If he doesn't get that open, it looks like he's f***ed because that's going to cost him a lot in the midterms. If people...
Okay, but I'm asking you, are these things that get you to stop supporting Trump, or are these things that you overlook?
If I notice significantly less money in my pocket at the end of every paycheck and rent and everything, after all of that, that is something that would make me consider my opinion on who I'm voting for.
Okay, so what if you're paying more at the grocery store? What if you're paying more for gas? What if you're spending more on basically everything in the economy because inflation has gone up because Trump started the war with Iran?
But it needs to be consistent. It can't just be for a month or two. People
more than a month
swing all the time.
I mean, and it will probably be throughout the whole summer in terms of gas prices being up. So you say that it has to be for a long period of time for me to start caring about the impact in terms of the economy. I bet you blamed Biden for gas prices, and I bet you blamed Biden for the economy.
Well, I only got over here in 2025, so I only really moved here January 25, and things were pretty expensive then. So that's why maybe my opinion is swayed because of when I moved here.
Well, you moved here once Trump got in office, so all you know is Trump being president.
I wouldn't say that because his impact wouldn't really have made a difference until later in the year anyways. When I got here for the first couple of months, it still would have been...
No, it was still under Trump, but it's still under Trump. You have to understand that, right?
Yes, I know he was in office.
Yeah, I understand. Is under Trump.
Yes, 100%. But the prices, when Trump left office in 2020 or whatever, and he left Biden with the COVID mess. I don't blame Biden for all the mess that you had in 21, 22 because it would happened under Trump. A president doesn't make massive changes. I know they sign executive orders and shit like that, but people don't feel changes for the first couple of months because it takes time for these things to kick in. And I see people talking about...
I know you're saying that it takes time for these things to come in, but you're not understanding is that you're still under the control of him, and he did impose these policies, and you did then see the impact of them. The point I'm making, you're still under the control of Trump, and you're still experiencing what it was. I mean, his tariffs were put very, very quickly. His policies he passed immediately.
I understood the tariffs straight away because the restaurant I work in had to stop importing Irish goods because of the tariffs, and they had to change their price and get it from somewhere else. So I know firsthand with some of the tariffs how they impacted where I work.
Okay, so then then why don't you see that as enough of a negative impact?
Cost of living would be the second thing that I focus on. Immigration and safety would
Trump
still be
has
the
made that
primary.
worse.
I don't know if it's
Both
true
of
or not,
those
but
made
he
worse.
has.
And also, you voted for a convicted felon adjudicated to address safety in the country. He pardoned violent rioters who beat police officers and wanted to create a $1.7 billion slush fund to give them all $1 million.
Yeah, and I saw recently as well that the DOJ approved something for like what 1.7 billion to fund his
That's
what
a
was it
slush
like
fund.
Trump was that what you were
Yes,
referring to
that's
there?
what I was just referring
Oh,
to.
yeah, which I don't really understand either how that works out, but I think it is a bit of a piss take. But
Okay. So I'm asking, like, what do you want to? Why do you still support Trump?
I need to see the Democrats. I don't want to use the wrong terminology, but become more normal with the way they approach things.
Okay.
I do
What
think they
about
went
what they do
fairly
is not
off.
normal? Can you give me one policy of Harris's that you disagree with?
One policy that would absolutely drive me mad. No, I can't actually.
So maybe there is the point that you're just generally saying Democrats are bad without knowing why you think they're bad.
No, I know why I feel like they're bad, but it's personal. It's nothing to do with policy. It's more just their approach to certain things.
Their vibes, bro.
No, not their vibes. I do, and again, like I don't want to get into the whole abortion debate because it is such a polluted topic to discuss, and people have their own opinions. But again, I don't think that. Again, I think that should be a state's issue. I don't think the federal government should have complete oversight over that.
No, do you think it should be federally protected? Or are you saying human rights, under your view, should be left up to the state?
No, I don't think so. Let me make clear. I don't think abortion.
Either view you have, it's kind of sick to say that you want it to be left up to the states.
No, but let me just make it.
Either
let me make my
believe that
point
the
clear.
right to life should be left up to the states, or you believe that
No.
bodily autonomy should be left up to the states.
No. Let me clarify my stance. I don't think abortion should be outlawed. Firstly, is what I want to make clear. Like I do think there should be cases that it should be allowed, but I do think there should be a limit on it, on how far into a pregnancy
Okay, if you want
that you should be allowed to.
Okay, well, those limits existed after viability.
Yeah, but after but didn't, or again, this could be, I could be exposing myself here for propaganda. Didn't the Democrats want to increase the limit of?
You said the different states should have the ability to do that. Like, so the Roe versus Wade just established a baseline that after viability, that it's left up to the states to make those determinations. But prior to viability, it's federally protected.
Yeah, but if states like it shouldn't be outlawed. But if states like California offer it, I saw in the news. There was a girl from Louisiana who went up and got an abortion in California. I don't think that you should have to go whatever that distance is, that 3-hour flight to get an abortion. Like I should be able to get it wherever you live. But obviously some states are going to have...
So then you need federal protection.
But it is federally protected, is it not?
No, it's not. Because Trump put people in the Supreme Court with the explicit reason of overturning Roe versus Wade. It got rid of those federal protections to then leave it up to the states.
So there is states now where abortion is outlawed?
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that.
Okay, so that's quite literally what's happening right now because of Trump. So given that you don't agree with that, then would you say that you don't support Trump anymore?
No, but what does that imply? Does that also include in the life of the mother and in cases of rape and incest, or is it just outlawed?
It does include cases of rape and incest, yes. And I would say it does affect people in terms of life of the mother, and that's why maternal mortality has increased. But they'll say that they allow for it in those exceptions and whatnot. But again, I think that these exceptions inevitably will prevent people who do need it in the circumstances from getting it.
And would that be something like abortion and whatever? Would that be something that you would consider when you go to vote? Your own opinion? Would that be something like what would you when you go to the voting polls? Forget about the candidate and what side, Republican, Democrat, Independent. Like what would be the top key factors for you when you go to the polls of what you are thinking about? Like what impacts your opinion? And forget like Democrat or Republican, whatever. Trump, Kamala Harris, whoever.
Yeah, pro-choice, healthcare. I want people to address like the need for human rights, to not be dehumanizing, like social programs for people in need, right? Providing food for kids, right? Like basic stuff like that. Like I can keep going, but
but what was the most recent government shutdown a couple months ago? Was the key factor that was the Democrats wanted healthcare funding and the Republicans wanted, what was it? Was that to do with ICE, or am I thinking of the wrong shutdown?
I mean, it depends. I don't know what shutdown you're thinking of because there's been multiple.
There was one that went on for like 60 days, 90 days.
Yeah, the one that went on for a long time. That was because the Democrats wanted healthcare funding extended for the ACA because people's healthcare insurance premiums were going to go up. But we heard from Marjorie Taylor Greene that was a manufactured one by Trump because he wanted to distract away from a vote from for the Epstein file. That's what Marjorie Taylor Greene says.
When did she say that?
That was within the last few months.
That's kind of crazy. I don't know. I would again. I don't really want to take any. I don't listen to anything they say as gospel, but I wouldn't be surprised. But then, like, you see things that happen in like what really annoys me is you see like these things that happen in sanctuary states like Minnesota. Like, those riots were awful, and what happened was awful. I don't want to get into it, but like sanctuary states that don't hand over illegal criminals from prisons or jails to ICE, like, I don't see why that's an issue. Like, if there is someone who's arrested who's here illegal, why can't they be handed over to ICE? Why is there protection on them? Which I don't understand. Like, if they're arrested,
I mean, if they haven't committed a violent or serious offense, I would do that too.
But should they not be handed over pending their trial or their charges?
Oh, I wouldn't hand them over. If I was in one of those states, I wouldn't do it.
But is that because you, like, if they were handed over to ICE and detained by ICE?
Why would I not do that? Why would I not do that? Because they don't deserve to be deported. They don't deserve to be treated that way. And they aren't people who are a threat to the safety and security of our population.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying they wouldn't be deported. They'd be detained by ICE pending their trial or their charges or whatever, and then they would be deported.
Say it again?
So they'd be handed over to ICE pending, like, once they're arrested and they're released on bail or bond or whatever, they'd be handed over to ICE pending the result of their trial or whatever charges are brought.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that when you see pending charges would be like the coming into the country and documented. So, I mean, I don't think they should be removed, so I wouldn't want to do that if they have not committed a violent or serious offense.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think a violent or serious offense should be because, like, a violent or serious offense is something like, murder or whatever, we'll say. I don't think that should be the baseline for removing someone from the country. Like, it should be...
It is.
If they're here illegally, like...
Not for me. I mean, like... And again, the typical Democratic position is they want to still criminalize undocumented. They want to prioritize going after those that have committed violent, serious offenses, and they want to make the legal process go quicker. But I don't think you should deport any people that have not committed violent or serious offenses.
But if they do commit violent or serious offenses, don't the sanctuary states still not hand them over? Or do they hand them over to ICE in certain situations?
It depends on the state they're referencing. I don't know why you're asking me this, to be honest with you. What's the point?
My point on immigration, I don't think that illegal immigrants should be... Like me, I had to go through the process of background check, paid like 10, 15 grand to get my visa. Like, I went through all the legal pathways.
It's crazy that you had to pay that money and you have to go through such a long process. No one should have to go through such a long process or have to pay so much.
But would you not rather know that me coming into the country...
Dude, I would rather have a process where we vet the most amount of people we possibly can. But right now, we don't have that process because people can't get their shit together and vote for a bill in Congress that will ensure that we vet the most amount of people possible by giving amnesty to those that have not committed violent or serious offenses. That gives an actual incentive for undocumented immigrants that are already in the country to get themselves to go through the legal process and to get vetted. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to address the process.
But to get vetted, you obviously have to apply and give your paperwork like I done. I still think that even if you will, like, would you not rather someone like me who know like, when I come into the country, you know that I've not committed any serious offenses, compared to people coming across the border that have no...
I would prefer that we knew this prior, but we don't live in that system right now because the current process takes too long where it inevitably incentivizes people to go through the process undocumented. I'm saying let's address the root cause.
And you think that by nationalizing the people that are already here, if they haven't committed illegal offenses, would...
Providing a pathway to citizenship would provide an actual incentive for them to identify themselves to authorities and go through said vetting process.
And how long do you think that would take to do? That would take years. That would take years.
Okay.
So that change you wouldn't feel that change for 10, 15 years or whatever.
When you say 10, 15, this is such bullshit. 10, 15 years. Where'd you get that number from?
People are waiting. I'm just using the green card process. Like, people are still there waiting for green cards.
It does not take 10 to 15 years to get people to go through the process.
There's been people living in America for 30, 40 years illegally that still haven't gone through the process of getting their green card and etc. That's why I'm using that number.
That should never happen because they should have had a quick legal process they could have gone through.
Yes, so, but I'm saying, but since they haven't done it, do you not think that is a crime that they've committed by not doing that?
I don't have an issue with it. If they haven't committed a violent or serious offense, if they're not trying to harm anyone, they just came here for a better life, what's the issue? Genuinely, what's the issue?
Maybe I see it differently because I'm an immigrant who's gone through the right process and paid all the money to do it, but I just don't think it's more so.
Now that doesn't mean it should be the process should be that costly or take that long for everyone else.
No, but me, I have to leave after a certain amount of time, or I can't come back, etc., etc. I just think that by giving amnesty to the people who are already there.
Wait, so you're just here under tourism?
No, my visa lasts 4 years, and then I have to renew it.
Okay.
So, what I'm saying is, if you give amnesty to people that are already there, it nullifies people like myself and other people who have done it. It's almost a kick in the face to people who've done it the proper way.
If I want to make it quicker for you as well,
but it wouldn't be. I'm not on about making it quicker. I'm on about if you give amnesty to the people who are there illegally. It's like a kick in the face to people who've done it the right way.
If you take that as a kick in the face, years. I honestly don't give. To be honest with you, don't give a shit. Okay, I want the system to be better for other people in the future, right? And if that means that you feel sad about that, I don't care. Honestly, could care less.
It's fair enough. I like this. Again, that's your opinion. It's fair enough.
Because inevitably, you would have had a better system, a faster process, if it were under my system than what currently exists under the current system. And if you would say that that's a bad system just because you would want to tear down other individuals, I don't care.
I'm not saying it's a bad system. I would much prefer an easier system. America is the hardest hardest country in the world to get a legal route to enter. That's why you have so many illegal people coming in.
Yeah, so let's not make it so hard to go through the legal process. It should never have taken you 10 to 15 grand to come into our country. That's nuts, bro.
Yeah, but it's worth it for the opportunities,
Okay, well, you say it's worth it for the opportunities, but it should not have taken that. And if you say it was worth it for the opportunities, well, then you're totally okay if it's quicker for other people in the future because you got the opportunities, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so then what's to complain about?
Nothing. What you said is accurate, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to.
Okay, just because you don't think it's going to happen right now doesn't mean it's not a policy that we could want or that we could advocate for.
No, I would 100% if someone came up.
And if you do advocate for this, then you agree with the Democrats to a greater extent.
Yes, but I don't agree with giving everyone who's already there amnesty. That's an issue I had, and I know that Chuck Schumer.
That's not even in the Democratic position.
But Chuck Schumer has said that he wants to give them amnesty or a path. Not amnesty, a path to legal status.
Not undocumented immigrants who have not committed a violent or serious offense. He does not hold that view. What are you talking about?
Chuck Schumer said that people who haven't committed a violent offense, he wants to have a pathway. I think he said there's something like 9 million of them. He said that he wants to give them a pathway to get.
Bullshit, he said that. I would say that's based as if he said that, but he did
not
say
that.
I do not believe Chuck Schumer said that.
I have seen
no
it
shot.
On Twitter. He said it.
Nope.
I've seen it on Twitter.
Don't believe you.
I can't close the thing
way,
to get it.
I'm someone who would say that's based if he did say that, but I promise you on everything, Chuck Schumer did not say that. Bull.
I can't close the thing to get it, but I am almost 100% sure that he has said it. I've seen it on Twitter. Not that Twitter is the. Not that Twitter is the.
I don't believe that for a second.
Accurate information, but I have seen it.
I don't believe that for a second.
It's all right.
I don't believe that for a second.
It's all good. I got to shoot off to work, but I do appreciate you chatting to me, and I'm sorry if I wasted your time with some bullshit, but I appreciate it.
Okay, all right.
Have a good day, man. Good luck.